You won't believe what is really going on between Toxic Lyrikali and the Buruklyn Boyz. This is not just rap beef. This is not just two artists going back and forth on tracks. What I'm about to break down for you today is a story of betrayal, territorial warfare, hidden alliances, and a conflict so deep that it's literally splitting the entire Kenyan drill scene in half. And the shocking truth behind how this all started, nobody is talking about it until now. So buckle up, because by the end of this video, everything you thought you knew about Nai drill is about to change. And trust me when I say, what happens next is going to leave you speechless. Now, before we dive deep into the layers of this beef, let me set the stage for you. Nairobi, Kenya, a city pulsing with energy and creativity, and an underground music scene that has been quietly exploding onto the global stage. Kenyan drill, sometimes called Nai drill, emerged in the late 2010s and early 2020s as young artists from Nairobi's roughest neighborhoods began adapting the UK and Chicago drill sound and making it unmistakably Kenyan, sharing lyrics, Nairobi street codes, and a raw, unfiltered energy that resonated with an entire generation. And at the center of this movement, two names kept rising to the top: the Buruklyn Boyz and Toxic Lyrikali. Now, on the surface, you might think that this is just another rap rivalry, two acts competing for stream and clout, but I have spent weeks digging into these, reading interviews, breaking down lyrics bar by bar, scrolling through the tweets and Instagram stories that have since been deleted, and what I found is that this beef is a mirror reflecting something much bigger, something that cuts to the very hearts of Nairobi streets. It's a culture, it's the soul of Kenyan drill itself. So let's start from the very beginning. Now, this is where everything gets really interesting and where most people's understanding of this beef is incomplete. The initial phase of Toxic Lyrikali versus Buruklyn Boyz conflict wasn't fought with direct diss tracks. No, it was fought with subliminals. And in the Kenyan drill culture, subliminals are an art form. Both sides began dropping tracks where certain bars, if you listened closely and understood the street references, were clearly aimed at the other side. Toxic would drop a freestyle and bury a line about fake drillers about the East who rap about life that they have never lived. The Buruklyn Boyz will respond with bars about cloud chasers from the North trying to ride a wave they didn't even create. And here is the genius of the subliminal warfare. It created a mystery. It created a debate. Fans would dissect every single line, pause, rewind, play it back to back, and argue for hours online about who was dissing who. Twitter threads would grow viral. Comment sections became battlegrounds. Group chats were splitting down the middle. You were either Team Buruklyn or Team Toxic. There was no middle ground. But beneath the lyrical sparring, something deeper was happening. And this wasn't just about who had better buzz. This was about authenticity. Toxic Lyrikali began making pointed accusation that the Buruklyn Boyz were, and I am paraphrasing here, studio gangsters, that the street's image was manufactured for the cameras and the microphones, that they rapped about a lifestyle they observed but didn't actually live. Now, in drill culture, anywhere in the world, whether it's Chicago, London or Nairobi, that accusation is the nuclear option. You question someone's street credibility in drill, that's not just a diss, that's a declaration of war, and the Buruklyn Boyz didn't take it lightly. They fired back, dismissing Toxic and someone who was using their name and the movement to build his own brand, a parasite, feeding off the attention of a scene they built from the ground up. The subliminals got sharper, the street talk got louder, and then it went beyond music entirely. And this right here is the layer that makes this beef deeper than anything the Kenyan music scene has seen in years. Because this is not just Toxic Lyrikali versus the Buruklyn Boyz. This is the East Side versus the North Side. In Nairobi, where you come from isn't an address, it's an identity. It shapes how you talk, how you move, who you trust, and who you consider the enemy. The Eastlands, neighborhoods like Buruburu, Umoja, Kayole, Dandora, these estates have long been the epicenter of Nairobi street culture. The music, the fashion, the slang, so much what defines Nairobi's urban identity flows from the East. And the drill scene was no different. For a long time, if you said Nai drill, you meant Eastland drill, period. But as the genre grew, artists from other parts of the city began emerging. The North Side, areas like Githurai, Zimmerman, Kasarani, and surrounding neighborhoods started producing their own drill artists with their own sound and their own stories. And Toxic Lyrikali became the face of that movement. So, when Toxic Lyrikali challenged the Buruklyn Boyz, he wasn't just challenging a group of rappers. In the eyes of many fans and street observers, he was challenging the East Side's cultural monopoly on drill. He was saying the North has bars too, the North has streets too, the North deserves its own crown, and the Eastlands, they took that personally, very, very personally. This regional dimension transformed the beef from a personal rivalry into something resembling a proxy warfare. Fans did not just support artists, they supported their neighborhoods. Online arguments turned into real-world tensions. Events where both sides might be present became charged with an energy that promoters and venue owners were increasingly nervous about. The mistakes were no longer about Spotify streamers or YouTube views. The stakes were about pride, territory, and legacy, and just when you thought it couldn't get any more intense, the diss tracks went from subliminal to direct, and what was said on those records changed everything. Now we're getting to the part that truly shocked the scene. After months of subliminal back and forth, both sides took the gloves off completely. Tracks started dropping where names were either directly mentioned or so thinly veiled that there was zero ambiguity about who the target was. And the content of these disses went far beyond typical rap beef territory. We're talking about allegations of snitching. In street culture, being labeled as a snitch is a death sentence for your credibility. And both sides lobbed that accusation at each other with specific references that only people from those neighborhoods would fully understand. Fans and drill commenters spent weeks trying to decode these references, pulling up old social media posts, screenshots and conversations, and even real-world incidents to verify or debunk the claims. Then, there were the buzz about family members, personal, cutting references that crossed lines that Kenyan drill scene hadn't seen crossed before. Without getting into the specifics that could cause further harm, let me just say that some of the things said on works were deeply personal and clearly designed to wound, not just compete. There were also references to past street altercations, real events, real confrontations, moments that happened outside of the recording studio, brought into the music as evidence of those of who was really about that life and who was fabricating a persona. One particularly explosive freestyle session, which circulated widely on social media, contained buzz from the Toxic camp that essentially narrated a specific incident involving a member of the Buruklyn Boyz, painting them in a light that was deeply unflattering. The response from the Buruklyn camp was equally savage, questioning Toxic's background and suggesting that his Northside credentials were exaggerated. Now, here is the thing that most commentary on this beef misses. These are not just words on a beat. In the context of Nairobi street culture, these allegations carry real weight. They affect how people are perceived on the ground. They can open old wounds and reignite conflicts that have nothing to do with music. And that's what makes this beef so dangerous and so fascinating. But that is not all, because the ripple effects of this rivalry extend far beyond two main parties and what happened to the broader Kenyan drill scene as a result. Wait until you hear these. Now, here is the paradox at the heart of this entire conflict. The Toxic Lyrikali versus Buruklyn Boyz beef has simultaneously been the best and worst thing to happen to the Kenyan drill. Let me explain. On the negative side, the beef has created a civil war atmosphere amongst fans. Online spaces that used to celebrate Nai drill as a unified movement are now fractured along factional lines. Collaborations that could have elevated the entire genre have been blocked by the animosity. Emerging artists feel pressured to pick a side, which limits their creative freedom and their ability to work with producers and features from the opposing camp. Some artists have even spoken privately about how the beef has made the scene feel hostile and unwelcoming, particularly for younger drillers who just want to make music without the policies. There are also legitimate concerns about the beef spilling beyond music into real-world confrontations. While nothing major has been publicly confirmed, the tension events and in certain neighborhoods is palpable. And for a genre that already faces scrutiny from the Kenyan authorities and mainstream media, this kind of conflict doesn't help the case for drill being taken seriously as an art form. But, and this is a significant but, the beef has also been a rocket fuel for the genre's growth. The competitive energy has pushed both Toxic Lyrikali and the Buruklyn Boyz to release some of the best music of their careers. When you know your rival is in the studio cooking up bars designed to bury you, you elevate your own game. The quality of production has improved. The storytelling has become more vivid and more compelling, and the audience has exploded. The beef has generated enormous attention for Kenyan drill, not just locally, but across East Africa and even among diaspora communities in Europe and North America. People who had never listened to a night drill track before were suddenly clicking on these tracks, getting pulled into the narrative, and then exploring the broader catalog of both artists. From a pure numbers perspective, the rivalry has been a marketing engine that no PR campaign could replicate. Industry analysts and music commenters in Kenya have noted that the streams, views, and social media engagement around Kenyan drill spiked dramatically. During the peak periods of the beef, new fans were converted, new subscribers were gained, and the genre as a whole received a level of mainstream attention that years of grinding hadn't achieved. So was the beef good or bad for the Kenyan drill? Toxic Lyrikali vs Buruklyn Boyz beef is really about one fundamental question: who gets to define Kenyan drill? Who owns the narrative? Who decides what authentic sounds looks like, what real looks like, and who deserves to wear the crown? The Buruklyn Boyz believe that they built this house, they laid the foundation, they set the standard, and anyone who comes after them is standing on their shoulders, and there's truth to that. Their contribution to the genre is undeniable. Toxic Lyrikali believes that a house belongs to whoever makes it better, that no one groups get keep an entire genre, that talent, authenticity, and hunger should determine hierarchy, not geography of who came first. And here is the truth to that too. This tension between legacy and evolution, between the establishment and the challenger, is as old as hip-hop itself. It happened with East Coast versus West Coast, it happened with UK's drill regional rivalries, and now it's happening in Nairobi. The question is, where does it go from here? Will there be a reconciliation, a collaborative project that unites the factions and elevates the genres to new heights, or will the divisions deepen, fracturing Kenyan drill into isolated camps that eventually burn out from internal conflict? Nobody knows, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes this one of the most important stories in African music right now. If you have made it this far, drop a comment telling me whose side are you on, Team Toxic Lyrikali or Team Buruklyn Boyz. And if you think there's a layer to this beef that I missed, let me know, because this story is far from over. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, because the next chapter of this rivalry could drop at any moment, and when it does, you will hear about it here first.